Okay, finished. So, like I was saying, this year has been like a real true dud. I mean, I'm looking at the scoreboard with a lot of these shows. I mean, right now, I think like November or December, The Boys shit came out. They was hyping the season 3 up to be this great season. And I don't see anything. Hopefully they don't pull what they did last year and break it all into little pieces, because if you look at The Boys, the whole season 2, it's pretty much the equivalent of like the worst season of The Boys. I mean, it was slow, didn't have a lot of stuff in it, didn't have a lot of progression. It just had like character stuff that they could have did it in season 2. But I think they're milking it. And this Amazon trying to get themselves in a contender of being a place of streaming service instead of them being just a place where people shop at. I watched another show they had, which was a good decision, and it's a show called Hannah. It's based off the 2011 thing about a girl assassin who grew up in the forest and whatever. And she's like a super soldier, a more normal version of super soldier, not Captain America type super soldier. And they got a whole show. I watched all 3 seasons. It was cool. And the funny part about the anti-SJWs and even the SJWs, they didn't even talk about it. I ain't see nobody talk about the show about a girl soldier kicking God's ass. I didn't see no kind of promotion for it. I didn't see anything because it wasn't popular enough. And the anti-SJWs, they didn't say anything about it either, when I thought that they would be out there trying to give people movies and stuff like that. I had to find it on my own. And I'm starting to do that more and more. I'm finding stuff on my own. Just before I left the house, I watched a movie called Peppermint. It was about a mom who lost her husband and her daughter, and she becomes a vigilante. It was, I think, Jennifer Garner was in it. Now, some of the moments was laughable. She was John Wick with like a soccer mom face. I'm like, this kind of crazy, but they kind of like pushed it into the fact that she basically traveled all over the world and got these set of skills. But they should elaborate it more, because it was kind of unbelievable that the kind of movements she was doing in the film, she was moving like John Wick, and she was moving like she was a special forces. I'm like, yo, she's just a soccer mom. She did all this in 5 years? Trained all this in 5 years, and people must have been sympathetic towards her or something and gave her training. But she turned out like this. She taking down whole groups of men and everything else. Now, some of the stuff that it was realistic, because she was being thrown around like a rag doll because guys that was bigger than her, and she was taking all types of moving around and everything else. Because I like movies that does that. They don't make the chick throw guys around and flip them all over the screen, but they make the chick believable, because she kicking people in the nuts and all that. Choreography was it was cool and all that. It was okay. But that's a new little movie that I watched. And I was like, man, it's cool. I saw this movie like on a weekend. It was called Red Sparrow. And it was something, the movie, I said, why didn't Black Widow kind of pull this off? It was kind of like her being a sex kitten. And it was so like the movie was actually top notch to that, like the graphic side of being a spy, where she was sleeping with people, she didn't want to sleep with them. They was making her, the kind of stuff that they was making one of the cadets do to the other, one of the creep balls and all that. And the fact is how she pretty much, how her uncle had some type of infatuation with her and shit. And I'm like, man, they was getting deep down into that gritty story. But and how it ended was crazy. So I like that movie. And I'm like, I'm searching all these movies. I'm like, man, let me see. I seen Black Widow again. The first time I just skimmed through it. The first time, the second time, before Red Sparrow, I watched it entirely. It was a good movie for what it was, like I said before. Probably gonna have to wait like 3-4 months before I watch Spider-Man No Way Home, because I'm not going to the movie theaters. So wait. It's like they're trying to dry out the content, and they're trying to drown with this bad content of this SJW agenda crap. And I'm like, I ain't buying it, man. Like, you making all these shows, wait. You had a whole entire year to push out Better Call Saul. I know the actor, he had a heart attack or some kind of thing. But I don't mean to be kind of like inconsiderate or unempathetic with him. But this dude was in an action movie. So why he have a heart problem when he was in this action movie? And I'm like, I couldn't take this action movie seriously. Why? Because they did it just like John Wick. The concept of the soccer mom and she being a vigilante, it was Jennifer Garner as an action hero. It was kind of funny, but at the same time, you kind of get it. It was a new concept. It was kind of like Punisher Soccer Mom edition. It was a new concept, but the dude from Better Call Saul, when he was in the action movie, it turned out like he was John Wick. Like they did the whole thing where he was a former hitman, and he don't want people to make him mad, and he started going crazy and fighting. And I'm like, man, this is John Wick, but just with a guy from Better Call Saul. I'm like, I ain't watching this, man. I'm like, if I wanted to go bootleg, if I wanted to go to a bootleg version of a bootleg of John Wick, I would go with a movie that Vanessa Hudgens is in, and I forgot what the dude name was called, but he was like a John Wick kind of guy, and they did that movie it was goofy behind characters, but it was a fun movie. It kind of pulled off John Wick a little bit, but other than that, that's the only second tier John Wick that I would actually watch. Other than that, I'm not watching any of the other ones. Yeah, the movies are scarce. The games are scarce. Pro wrestling is scarce. I'm like, man, I never seen this scarce before. And what they did last year with Last of Us and Cyberjunk, I was like, man, I'm losing a lot of faith in gaming. But at the same time, I had to go back and play old games that I never played, that I let sit, because when these games came out, they was broken. Now I'm like, okay, let me play these games now that they, like 6 years later when they fixed them. But yeah, man, it's a scarce thing out here, man. And Oh yeah, let me also talk about the whole David Carroll stuff. So, a lot of people, like the guy, yeah, rest in peace and everything, but the guy, before he passed away, he was talking trash about, I think was he talking trash about Passport? Well, he was talking trash about a lot of people. And the same people who said, rest in peace, David Carroll, half of them didn't even mess with David Carroll at all. A lot of people didn't even consider, they didn't even consider him, but they used they reference him, like Brian Solange reference him. And where Brian Solange headed, the so-called guy who who always giving these women that he's critiquing compliments in videos, but somehow I don't like them. And then coming at Passport guys and SYSBM, even though a lot of guys in Passport are happier than he is, and he had to come up with these theories or whatever. But back to David Carroll, dude wasn't perfect, but I see a lot of guys, fake people, in comment sections of videos talking about his death, and I'm like, half of you dudes wasn't feeling him, and the other half was gonna sit there and talk shit about him. And I'm like, man, a lot of stuff happened in 2021 from so many people exposing themselves for who they really are. You got double agents in Passport. You got fake SYSBM dudes. You got guys that I called it, going at SYSBM. You got guys going at Passports. Then they start fighting amongst each other too. It's been a mess. I don't know what 2022 is gonna bring, man. I hope it bring better than 2021, man. Cause the beginning, the first 3 months of 2021, I mean, it was kind of crazy. I told y'all about the two guys that I knew that got shot, got killed in the store. All this craziness that went on Facebook Live and Instagram Live and stuff like that. And all the predictions. Like, if the content don't get better in 2022, I'm gonna go right back in time, and I'm gonna watch Buffy. I'm gonna watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. I'm going right back to those shows. I know how many seasons they are, and I'll be busy watching them. See, I'm right now on Power Rangers. I'm stuck at Turbo, but I seen that they said it was gonna get better after the new people come in, passing the torch. So I'm gonna stick it out, because I really was gonna skip Turbo. Because I didn't see all of Turbo, because Justin. I didn't like Justin at all. I don't like Alpha 6. I don't like none of them. They need a new cast, and I want to see what the new cast is. Other than that, man, it's like it's really nothing going on, man. For 2022, hopefully it'll be a better year for stuff. Also, somebody hit me up in my email, my other email, not my main one, and told me about a situation they was in, that they said they listened to somebody from the Black Manosphere about going to another city or something like that, and they got trapped there. And once I forgot what it was called. I forgot what he said, but basically he listened to somebody in the Black Manosphere, and he got pretty much temporarily homeless. And I had to break it down to him that you don't just get up and move your life because somebody told you on YouTube, because they're not going to tell you the full story. I told him, I said, you got to look at your life where you at, not firm the money, but in firm of your patterns and what you do as far as buying food, how much your food costs, how much food costs in a new place, because some places will guide your eyes out for the food. Where I'm at in Philly, food ain't nearly that expensive, because I go to places where they actually take care of the neighborhood. But if you go to some of these other towns, you're gonna be paying like $300 or even $200 just to get some food. And it might not be all the food that you want to eat. A lot of people don't understand that when you move to go to another place, you're gonna have to take a lot of hits. And nobody tells you about that. And including the rent and where you stay at. Nobody gonna tell you how much you're gonna have to pay in those areas. Some areas cheaper, but some areas will require you to get a car. You're not gonna have good internet service. That's one of the things too. You're not gonna be able to bring some of the other stuff you got. You're gonna have to have storage in the city that you're in and be able to pay for it. I told him, I said, do never listen to people full-heartedly on YouTube like that, and they're not gonna give you the list of things to do. Because I had the same conversation with somebody else I know, and he ain't listen to me. But this guy, he listens to me, and he's like, why did they just say that stuff? I'm like, I don't know. Don't ask me. But I had to break it down to him like, yo, it's many different factors. You have to, it's a lot, it's a mindset thing too. Because you're going to probably have to be in a place with no TV. And the only thing you got for entertainment is your phone. You're going to be sitting there in a room by yourself, alone. You probably going to have to you probably ain't going to have no video games. You're not going to have nothing. The only thing you're going to have is a couple of things that you can put in your head. YouTube videos, and that's about it until you get your money up or whatever. And I told him, I said, you got to look at what you got now and minimize that, even take away some of that stuff, and see if you can do 6 to 7 months, 8 months, even a year without all that stuff. I told him my time where I didn't play video games for 2 years because I had other things that I was trying to do in my life. And how if I had to do it again, I could do 2 more years without it, as long as it's get me where I need to go. I was like, I ain't miss anything. I told him the time where I went 3 months without internet and cable because of certain situation. And I said, sometimes you're gonna have to take hits, and sometimes you have to be on your own. I said I had to. I said, your best friend on these occasions are gonna be a external hard drive and a laptop. You don't need cable. All you need is external hard drive, your favorite things, and the internet. You don't even need internet access. I said you have to save up, and you're gonna have to shell out some money for an external hard drive, maybe a 9 terabytes hard drive, external hard drive, and put all the stuff you like watching on there, and make it a habit of watching these things, from old shows that you go to sleep on, movies. And if you can't get video games, you're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be with one thing. You're gonna be one thing. You can take one thing with you. So you're gonna do entertainment, laptop, and external hard drive. Take that with you, and you'll be able to survive for a year or 2 without the stuff that you supported. With no internet access, nothing that. As long as you got that, you good. And I said I had to learn that. Because like I said, if something start getting hard, my internet access go out, you ain't gonna see me for a long time. But the thing is, I'm gonna have a lot of shows and TV shows to get me through days and what's it called? Because I remember when a few years ago, when I didn't have the right stuff, I was looking at old behind bootleg DVDs, and I looked at the same bootleg DVDs over and over and over and over again. I was so bored out of my mind. So I was like, man, if this ever goes on, I said, man, I gotta teach other people this. Because if they go through some hard times or they got to go to a new city, you got to know what kind of food you like or what kind of system you want to eat. You probably going to have to eat some food that you probably don't want to eat. You're going to probably have to find out what's the cost of living there, the security around there, the crime and everything else and routes. I said, I put a list to help them out. And I told them, like, you probably gonna have to reboot all over again. And I was like, man, don't listen to people who gonna tell you half-ass truths, because a lot of them didn't have things. They don't have a lot of different things to keep them set. That's why a lot of people they jump to drinking and smoking and all that. You know, when you don't drink and you don't smoke, you got to lean on other things. Because people who drink and smoke, they lean on weed and alcohol to get them through stuff. But when you don't have that stuff, you gotta be more creative to get you through things. So I was like, man, stop listening to people on YouTube who tell you to just get up and leave without any type of plan. Because if you get stuck and you get homeless, these same people ain't gonna get you out. They're not gonna pay you anything. They're not gonna give you money. They're not gonna be liable for their advice that they give you. They're just gonna be like, oh, try harder again next time. And I'm starting to see a lot of different people who talk about black community. I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna say no names right now. But there's a couple people that I seen talking to like old bras, the same old bras who don't got respect for so quote unquote black men or whatever. And I see them having respect in chats, and I'm like, what are you doing over here? I thought you was like, I thought you were against this being in this type of space. But I like, let me mind my business. I called the people I need to call out, like a Xander's Clutch and, you know, Solo TV84 and all these other people. Like, I stand back from it. Like I said, I'm not in it full time. I'm in it part time. So, yeah.